sunshine came softly.
As more pirate stations came on air, rivalry and competition was hotting up. Radio City, based on forts in the Thames estuary, was the start of the darkest chapter in the offshore radio story. It was run by Reg Calvert, manager of the Fortunes.
Your Tower of Power.
Reg Calvert started Radio City. He was one of the old-time entrepreneurs. He was a real character. He had great ideas. I mean, one of his ideas for the Screaming Lord Such campaign, when that started in Stratford, it was Reg's idea. He got it all off the ground. He just came up with these quirky ideas to just get publicity.
Everybody's hustling, not just two.
And one of those ideas was for Calvert to go into partnership with Radio London to create a new good music station, which was to be broadcast from these wartime forts. The whole operation was conducted in secret. However, there was one problem. The £10,000 radio transmitter belonged to a third party, Major Oliver Smedley. He was a director of Radio Lanta, which later merged with Radio Caroline. Smedley became aware of what was happening with Calvert and Radio London, so he decided to take the forts by storm. They climbed on board, they silenced the transmitter, and they confined all the disc jockeys to their quarters, allegedly with guns to their heads.
The actual boarding party who came out wanted to get the transmitter off that we had there, which apparently had not been paid for. But it was more or less a blackmail attempt against Reg Calvert and against Radio City as the station itself to keep us off the air until something was arranged. 2 days later, after the men had boarded the station, Reg went to reason with Smedley and asked him to get these men off. And, of course, the terrible consequences that followed a few minutes later after their conversation began at Saffron Walden.
Something happened, an altercation in the hallway, as far as we can gather, and Reg was shot with a shotgun.
You see?
All right, Newsbeat, fast and factual.
37-year-old Reg Calvert, manager of many pop beat groups, including the Fortunes, and owner of the offshore radio station Radio City, was shot dead in a country mansion near Saffron Walden, Essex, earlier this morning. A man is reported to be helping the Essex police in their inquiries into the shooting.
Stand by. Here is a Radio London News Bulletin. Dateline, Wednesday, June the 22nd. Essex. William Oliver Smedley has been charged with the murder of Reg Calvert, the head of Radio City, who was found dead in a house in Saffron Walden this morning.
He didn't really ever talk to the boys in the bands about his business. All we knew was we'd lost a manager.
He's lost. And bitterness.
It was a shocking time, and I think that was the end. That was the end of the radio stations. As I recall, Tony Benn, Anthony Wedgwood Benn, was the Postmaster General at the time, and the outcry and the violence, it forced them to act.
They're stealing the copyright and paying no money for it. They're playing records that musicians have recorded and giving them no money for it. The pirates are a menace, and I don't believe at all that...
It was inevitable that the pirate stations were going to be closed down sooner or later. And obviously you couldn't have total anarchy of the airwaves indefinitely. But basically, they weren't doing probably as much harm as many government ministers suggested.
You don't know what's going on.
I went to the Labour Party conference, I went everywhere, and they didn't want to listen or talk.
It was quite strange, because there was Harold on the one hand dropping the names of the Beatles in speeches, saying, look at me, I'm old Harold, aren't I in touch with what's going on? And on the other hand, stopping pirate radio. But I think it was just that whenever the establishment is challenged, as it was, they will find some way to deflate the energy of the challenger. They put Elvis Presley in the army, you know. They put the Beatles on Sunday night at the London Palladium and going around on the roundabout waving. They were never quite the same after that, you know, and they stopped pirate radio.
Wonderful Big L, wonderful Radio London.
Big L time is 3 o'clock, and Radio London is now closing down.
You're my world, you're every breath I take.
All but one of the radio stations closed in August 1967. DJs from Radio London were mobbed on arrival at Liverpool Street Station. There were hysterical scenes as thousands of screaming fans ran amok. For most of the DJs, including myself, the party was over.
The whole vibe from everybody there was, yeah, you've got to keep going, go out there, you know, keep Caroline continuing. And I knew the listeners would be just so upset, you know. It was like, it was a battle. And let's face it, at the age of 22, to be able to stick two fingers up at the entire British government and say, sod you, you know. You can pass what laws you like, but we're going to carry on.
You can pass a law for society, for Prime Minister, pro society.
You in my warm and tender love, yeah. Let me wrap you in my...
The fact that we were free, that's what frightened the government. We could say what we wanted. And if we wanted to get political, we could have done, but we didn't, because we weren't in that business. We're in the business of entertainment and music radio 24 hours a day. And the airwaves, I believe, belong to the people.
I think it became so obsessive that when it was all over, I almost breathed a sigh of relief. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world.